guys, in today's video we're going to make a little cake topper of Pinkie Pie from My Little Ponies. So I've printed off a few images that I can use just to help for guidance, and we've got two tones of pink that we're going to use. It's modelling paste, got pale pink and a dark pink, and this modelling paste is the Serracina that we're going to try today. So we've got one large ball that we've rolled into a cone shape, then we're going to roll two smaller ones that we're going to create the legs from. So taking the ball, we're going to roll between your fingers so that one end stays quite fat, and can you see this middle bit is thinning out a little bit. I'm going to squash the ball sideways slightly. So this is going to go on and be like the top of the leg, and this bit will become the bottom. So I'm just flattening the bottom there for where the foot is. Just give it a little bit of a bend there, and we're going to stick it onto the side of the body like that. Just make sure it's pushed on nice and tight. You can just use a little bit of water to attach it, or you can use edible glue if you prefer. I've done exactly the same with the leg on the other side, and now we're just going to roll a sausage shape. Let's trim it down a little bit shorter for our front legs. When I roll it, I want to roll it so it's thinner at the top than it is at the bottom, and if it's still too thick you can just slice a little bit off the back of each one. Just push that onto the body. So right at the very front, can you see it doesn't quite go up to the very top of that first sort of teardrop shape for the body that we'd made. Now taking some of the brighter pink, we're going to roll and then flatten it slightly. Make sure there's a point at the end. Just curl that bottom end and then kind of zigzag the rest of it. And we'll do that again with another piece, and we can just overlap them over the top of each other. Let's put a third one on, keeping it a bit smaller. This is going to be the tail. So I'm going to put water on one end, the end that's going to stick against the pony's bum. Now for the head. So I've got quite a large ball of pink, and we're just pushing into it slightly to push out a little ridge for the nose. So we're going to draw in a smile, and let's just open that up a little bit. I'm just using a little modelling tool here to help open up the smile. Put a little line across the corner of each side of the mouth. Let's put in two little nostrils. Oh, I think I might have put mine a little bit high up and a little bit close together. Just pushing in at the top of the cheeks a little bit. And I've got a little bit of pink and black mixed together here. It's kind of like a burgundy colour, but we're just pushing it in the top corners of the mouth. And then we've got a piece of white. Now try and avoid getting other colours in it. You see I got a bit of pink in the white on mine. Just give it a push in, and then what we're going to do is run a knife from either end so it looks like there's a top and bottom set of teeth. And using the balling tool we're going to create some eye sockets. So they're quite tall eye sockets. Now I went quite large with mine. You probably don't need to go quite as big. So we've got an oval of white that we're just going to press into each of these eye sockets. Now you might find if your fingers are warm, the paste is a bit sticky, it will stick anyway. If not, just put a little bit of water behind those eyes to hold them in place. Just rub them in nice and flat. Then we're going to add a bit of blue to the centre of these. So I've rolled it out thin, this blue, and used an oval cutter to stick these on. So don't go too dark blue because we have to do some painting shortly. But we want an oval of black in each eye as well, so that just sits inside the blue. Trim off any bits at the bottom so it matches in line with the top of the cheeks. And can you see we've got royal blue that we're just going to use for painting. So this is just food colouring. Use a nice thin brush. I've just added a tiny bit of water in the lid with the food colour just to dilute it a little bit. So try and keep that colour darker along the very outside edge of the blue section of the eye. And then we're going to cut another oval, quite a small one this time, in white. And then the smaller one I've just rolled into an oval, and we're going to stick that in the middle. And we're going to use some black modelling paste for our eyelashes. So roll it nice and thin with a point on that inside corner. Just taking it around the outside edge of the eye, and I have put water down to stick this onto. And we're just going to trim with a sharp little knife all the extra off the edge and just curl the eyelash up slightly. And what I've done next is just rolled some tiny little pieces and trimmed off the ends. So can you see they're quite pointy? We're just going to stick these on now for eyelashes. I'm trying to pick them up with my craft knife because if you pick them up with your fingers you do tend to squash them a little bit. So I've just taken a small piece of my modelling paste in pink. Tried to mix in some water so it's really tacky. We're going to stick this to the top of our body. Now I have just trimmed a tiny bit off the top of the body so it's flat, and we're going to push the head onto there. I just want it to be flat so that the head does balance. If it doesn't balance, you can always add a piece of spaghetti or a cocktail stick in there to hold it on. Just make sure if there is a cocktail stick in place that you let people know so that they don't eat it. And now we're going to add the mane. So the same as we did with the tail. So I've got a small piece of pink first that we're just sticking on the back of the head, but then bringing it down onto the body as well so that we've got a piece connecting the two together. Then I'm taking some bigger pieces that I've made just the same as we did the tail, And we're going to push these tightly onto the back of the head. Now they have got water on to hold them in place. And just keep going with these until you're happy with the size of the mane. I want it to stick out quite a bit from the side. Add a few more pieces. So it's coming kind of down the side of the neck as well. So you can just see that from the front for what it looks like. And let's give her some ears before we finish adding the mane. So a little teardrop flattened, and then we're just going to put a little line on one side of it. Give it a tight press onto the side of the head. Make sure you don't lose the point at the top of your ear. We'll do the same on the other one. And we've got some really small pieces just to fill in some gaps at the front. So that one's going up to the ear, like that. And let's put the big front piece on. So I've put a ball on first, just so that we've got something to stick my big front piece onto. So can you see it's got a little curve at the end, and it goes to a little point on the forehead. And I did forget to add the patterning to her bum, so when you do yours, you can add patterning to her bottom. So there she is, as finished as I made her. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave me a comment below. You can see more of my tutorials by clicking on the images on screen now. If you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button to stay up to date with my future tutorials. There are also links in the description box below where you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and more.